He was just a runaway with a bruise and a secret until he knocked on a stranger's door at 3 a.m., soaking wet, shaking, and one breath away from breaking. The man who opened it didn't ask questions. He just let him in, and that was the beginning of everything. Because what started as shelter turned into something forbidden, too close, too dangerous, and when River found out the man already knew who he was, it shattered everything they built in silence. Now the cops are at the door, his father is behind them, and the boy who ran has to choose whether to vanish forever or finally fall. The crash of ceramic against tile cracked through the house. I stood motionless, steam still clinging to my skin from the shower, towel sagging low on my hips. The mug had exploded near the sink, my father's doing, and the sound echoed like gunfire. Modeling, he bellowed from the hallway. "You've been sneaking around behind my back doing this trash." I barely moved as his footsteps thundered closer. The bathroom door was open just a crack, but I could see him now hulking over the kitchen table, red in the face, hands shaking over a stack of printed emails. My emails, the ones I sent to a talent agent in New York, the ones I deleted. Someone had gone through my laptop. "Who gave you the right?" I stepped out of the bathroom, the towel barely holding. He turned on me like a snapped cable. "I have every right," he roared. "As long as you're under my roof, River, I get to know what kind of man you're turning into." His voice hit harder than the slap. But the slap still came, fast, open palm, left cheek. The burn bloomed instantly across my face. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I didn't even blink. I walked past him, left a trail of wet footprints across the living room floor. Each step felt like I was leaving something behind: skin, breath, identity. In my room I moved fast. Hoodie, jeans, my charger, $36 from the top drawer. I caught my reflection in the cracked mirror. My lip was trembling, my eyes weren't. By the door, the keys to Mom's old car hung like forgotten ghosts. "I swear to God, River, if you walk out that door," but I already had. The rain outside wastes, just falling, it was attacking. I ducked into the car, fingers fumbling with cold keys, heart in my throat. The engine sputtered, then roared like it was as angry as I was. I didn't look back. I drove, no plan, just away, past closed diners, broken streetlights, the place where I kissed someone in secret once and lied about it after. My phone buzzed over and over. I tossed it on the passenger seat. Let it die. Let everything die tonight. Midnight hit somewhere around the outskirts of Seattle. I pulled off the highway near an abandoned gas station, Bill's Quick Fill. The sign said, but all the windows were boarded and the pumps looked like tombstones. The rain followed me like it had a personal vendetta. I crawled into the back seat, hoodie soaked through, teeth chattering. My breath fogged the glass. I should have cried. Instead, I laughed, quiet, bitter. What a joke. 20 years old, supposed to be someone, supposed to be special. Instead, I was a runaway with no plan and a bruise on my face. I tried to remember the agent's voice on the phone. "You've got the look," Head said. "Get out of that town before it swallows you." Well, I was out. Now what? Sleep came in fragments. Lightning flashed. My brain kept playing the same reel: my dad's voice, my brother's betrayal, the sound of the slap. And then something new, a buzz, not from my phone, from across the street, a flicker, a sign I hadn't seen before lit up faintly. Cole's studio appointment only. My heart kicked. A coffee cup sat on the ledge outside, steam still rising. Someone was inside. No plan, no reason. I got out. Each step across the wet street felt heavier. My sneakers were soaked, my breath shaky. I didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know what I'd say. I just knew I couldn't sit in that car one more second. The awning barely protected me. Rain dripped from my hood, down my spine. I raised my fist and knocked once, then again. Silence. I started to turn away when the bolt clicked. The door opened, and there he was, older, tired, a shadow of a man with storm. Gray eyes and a voice that wrapped around my ribs like a question. "Something you need?" I blinked, and somehow all the words I wanted to say came out as one. Help. He didn't ask another question. Just stepped aside. Warmth spilled out from the studio, curling around my soaked body like a dare. I stepped in without thinking. My sneakers squeaked on the wood. The door clicked shut behind me. Inside it smelled like dust, chemicals, and something faintly citrus. The man moved past me without another glance. "You shouldn't be out here in that weather." "No kidding," I muttered. My voice cracked, weak, too small for the space. He didn't laugh, just opened a drawer, tossed me a towel. Dry off before you catch something, I nodded, peeled off the wet hoodie, tugged the towel around my shoulders. The cotton scraped cold skin. I could feel him watching, not leering, just noticing. Name, he asked. River. He didn't react. You. I asked back. He took a beat, Cole, then turned toward the back room. I stood alone, dripping in the middle of the studio like I didn't belong. The place was a mess, organized chaos. Tripods, lighting rigs, canvases leaned against the walls, some blank, others painted with shadows and silhouettes. Nothing about it said safe, but nothing screamed danger either. Cole came back with a dry t-shirt and a pair of sweatpants. Tossed them at me without a word. Thanks, I said. Bathroom's that way. You can change. I turned, took 2 steps, then paused. I'm not looking to rob you or anything. He blinked slowly. Didn't think you were. That shut me up. The clothes were too big. The cotton smelled like soap and something wore. Nin. I stared at myself in the bathroom mirror. The bruise on my cheek had turned a deeper red. My hair was flat, clinging to my face. I looked like a stray animal someone brought in from the street. Back in the main room, he was lighting a burner stove. A small pot sat on it, steam already rising. You hungry? I hesitated. He didn't wait. Sit. I sat. Silence stretched between us, thick as fog. You run away? He asked eventually. I nodded. How'd you know? You've got that look. I laughed once. It sounded like something broken. What look's that? Like the world forgot your name? I didn't reply. He stirred whatever was in the pot, something canned. I could smell salt, tomato, maybe old pasta. My stomach twisted. You in trouble? He asked. I shrugged. Depends who you ask, and if I asked you, I met his eyes. I'd say I'm just tired. He nodded like he understood too well. The soup was bland but hot. I ate in silence while he leaned against the counter with crossed arms, watching the rain hammer the windows. You can't crash here tonight, he said when I finished. Cots in the back. I don't care what your story is, but don't go rifling through my stuff, and don't lie to me. I swallowed. I wasn't planning on it. He tilted his head. Everyone plans on being good until they're desperate. That line hit harder than I wanted it to. I stood, stepped toward the cot behind a curtain. It looked small, unmade, like it hadn't been used in a while. Thanks, I said again. He didn't answer. I slipped behind the curtain, dropped onto the cot, and pulled the blanket around me. My body buzzed from exhaustion, but my brain refused to rest. Cole didn't go to bed. I could hear him still moving drawers opening, something heavy shifting. Then silence, minutes passed, then footsteps. The curtain shifted slightly. His voice came low, soft. You okay? I turned toward it. Not really. He didn't step in, just stood there. You ever done this before? He asked. What, runaway? I said. Yeah, no. I hesitated. Guess I thought it would feel more freeing than this. A beat of silence. It doesn't, does it? No, not even a little. He sighed. You're safe here, he said finally. That word safe almost made me cry. But I didn't. He left after that. The curtain fell back into place. His footsteps retreated across the floor. A light clicked off, but something stayed in the air, a tension I couldn't name. Sleep came in fragments. I kept seeing his face, sharp, tired, unreadable. I kept thinking about the way he didn't ask questions. Like he already knew the answers. When I woke hours later, the rain was still going. Gray light leaked through the windows. I sat up, pulled the blanket tighter, and listened for movement. Nothing. Then, the smell of coffee. I stepped out, barefoot. Cole stood at the counter, shirtless, tattoo ink trailing down one arm. His back was scarred not from something fresh, but old, faded stories. He looked over his shoulder. You eat oatmeal? I nodded. He pointed to the stool. I sat. His tone was different this morning, still guarded, but less stone. You still planning to disappear? I don't know. Anyone coming for you? Maybe. He didn't press. We ate in silence. Then, suddenly, he said, I've had a few kids show up like you, lost, hungry, shaking. What happened to them? He didn't answer. Just handed me a mug. Drink. You'll need energy. For what? He looked me dead in the eye. To decide if you're staying or just hiding. The storm hadn't let up by evening. I sat on the edge of the cot, rolling the drawstring of the sweatpants between my fingers. My hoodie was drying near the heater along with my soaked jeans. I wore nothing but the oversized shirt Cole had given me. It hung off my frame like a borrowed past. He moved quietly through the studio, reorganizing lights and cables. His footsteps were soft, deliberate, like he was trying not to scare the silence. At some point he asked, You sleep at all? I shook my head. Didn't think so. We didn't talk about the night before. Not the bruise, not the way I said help, not the way he hovered at the curtain like he wanted to come closer but didn't. I stood and walked toward the wall of photographs, black and white prints hung with clips and wire. Strangers stared back at me, raw, unfiltered, honest. One of the boys looked my age, maybe younger. You take all of these? I asked. He nodded from behind a tripod. Used to do castings, editorials, nothing big. They're real. That was the idea. I turned toward him. He was adjusting a bulb, forearms flexed under the weight. His T-shirt clung to his back with sweat. Ever shoot someone like me? I asked. He glanced over. Runaway, too much jawline. Maybe I smiled just a little. Guess I'm not the first lost kid you've dragged in here. No, but you're the first to ask questions. The heater clicked on with a low hum. I walked back to the cot and sat down, but I could feel the pull between us like a wire stretched too tight, waiting to snap. Cole dropped onto the stool across from me, holding a chipped mug. His eyes scanned my face again, like he was still trying to figure me out. You plan to go back? He asked. No, to what? That's the point. There's nothing to go back to. He took a slow sip. There's always something. I shook my head. Not for me, not after last night. He didn't push, just nodded like he understood in a way I hadn't earned. The silence between us turned thick. Then, slowly, he reached across the space and brushed a thumb along my cheekbone. The bruise was already fading, but the gesture froze everything. His hand lingered, not possessive, not hesitant. Just present. You should let someone take care of you, he said. I laughed, bitter. I don't even know how to let someone touch me. I noticed. He pulled his hand back. Not like he wanted to, like he had to. I stood, needing to move, needing to shake the moment off. You got a towel or something? My hair's still dripping. He pointed toward a small cabinet. I opened it, grabbed a clean towel, and scrubbed it over my head. The shirt lifted as I raised my arms. I caught him watching just for a second. His gaze dropped to the curve of my side, the bare skin above my waistband. He looked away first, but not fast enough. I dropped the towel, didn't speak. He stood too. That wire between us, it stretched, then snapped. He crossed the room in 3 quiet steps and stood right in front of me. I didn't move. His breath hit my cheek. Coffee and cigarettes. His hands hovered near my hips but didn't touch. You're not ready, he said, voice thick. I nodded. I know. Neither of us stepped back. I don't want to be another person who takes something from you. You're not. He exhaled through his nose, shaky, like his body was fighting itself. Then, slowly, he reached behind me and pulled the curtain closed. You'll be in the next room, he said. I turned, stopped him with a word. Cole, he looked over his shoulder. I didn't say anything more, just looked at him, and whatever he saw in my face made his hand twitch on the edge of the curtain. He didn't step back in, but he didn't look away either. That night I lay on the cot, his blanket pulled to my chin, heartbeat thumping in my throat. The light outside the curtain dimmed, but I stayed awake, staring into the dark, because I could still feel his fingers on my skin, because I could still feel his restraint, and because, for the first time in forever, I didn't want to be alone in that silence. I wanted him to cross it, but he didn't, not that night. The next morning came in gray streaks. The storm had passed, but everything still felt damp, the walls, the air, my chest. Cole was already up, shirtless, painting something on a canvas I hadn't noticed before. His arms moved like they remembered pain. I watched him from the cot for a long time before speaking. You don't sleep much, do you? He didn't turn. Didn't earn it yet. I sat up, the blanket pulling at my waist. What does that mean? Means I still have too many ghosts. He finally looked at me, tired, unshaven, beautiful in a way that made me feel like an open wound. You ever shoot people just to see them disappear? He asked. I blinked. What? Never mind. He stood, wiped his hands on a rag. You hungry? I nodded. He made oatmeal again. Bland, comforting. We ate at the counter, not touching, but close enough to feel heat between our arms. I need to go out for supplies later, he said. You'll be okay here. I shrugged. Not like I've got plans. You could, if you wanted. I looked at him. You mean that? He didn't answer, just poured coffee and handed me a mug. Then the front door opened. Not creaked, opened. Cole turned faster than I'd seen him move. His eyes hardened. A man stepped inside, maybe 35. Buzzed hair, leather jacket, smile like broken glass. Well, the man said, this is cozy. Cole stepped in front of me. "You weren't supposed to come here," he growled. "Relax. Just wanted to see your new project." I stood. "Who the hell are you?" "No one," Cole snapped. "He's no one." The man grinned. "Really, that's how we're playing it." He turned to me. "You know, he does this, finds the lost ones, lets them sleep here, acts like a savior." "Shut up," Cole barked. "You didn't tell him?" the man asked, voice dripping. I looked at Cole. "Tell me what?" The man laughed. "He already knew who you were when you knocked." My throat closed. I turned. "Is that true?" Cole's face went still. "I didn't at first, but you figured it out." He nodded. "Yeah, and you didn't say anything. I didn't know how you lied. I didn't—" "You let me sleep here, let me talk to you, touch you, and all that time you knew exactly who I was." He stepped forward. "I wasn't trying to control you. I was trying to keep you safe. That's not your call." I pushed past him. "River don't," the stranger laughed again. "See, told you, always ends messy." Cole turned to him, voice sharp. "Get out." "What, gonna hit me again?" I stared at Cole. "What does he mean again?" Cole didn't answer. The man winked at me and walked out. The door slammed. Silence. "You lied to me," I said. He didn't speak. "I thought you were different." "I am different." "No, you're just better at pretending." I went to the cot, grabbed my bag. "You don't have to go," he said, voice low. I zipped the bag. "Don't tell me what I have to do. I wasn't trying to manipulate you. I just didn't want to lose you. You never had me." That one hit him. I saw it, but I didn't care. I crossed the studio, opened the door. The world outside was pale and cruel. Behind me, his voice broke the quiet. "If you go now, I won't stop you. But don't pretend it didn't mean something." I turned, eyes burning. "It did," I said, "and that's why I can't stay." I stepped outside. The cold bit through the cotton shirt. My hoodie was still inside. I didn't go back for it. 10 blocks down, I sat on a curb and let the weight of it hit me. The betrayal, the almost, love, the look in his eyes. He knew who I was, and he still let me fall. I pulled my phone from my pocket. 1% battery, no messages, not even from him, and I hated how much that hurt. I didn't make it through the night. The bus station was colder than it looked. Hard benches, flickering lights, the kind of quiet that makes you think you're the only thing left alive. I pulled my knees into my chest, hoodie long forgotten, breath fogging the air. Every time someone walked by, I flinched. A woman behind the ticket window looked at me like I was a stain on her floor. I asked for water. She handed me a cup like shed, seen 1,000 kids just like me. The kind who vanish without anyone noticing. By morning, I was shaking not from fear, from hunger. My phone was dead, my body close behind. I wandered into a 24-hour diner and sat at the counter. Didn't order. Didn't have to. The waitress glanced at me, then back to her coffee pot. No questions, no judgment. But I didn't stay. I left before I turned into something even sadder. By nightfall, I decurled behind a dumpster behind a shuttered bookstore. Smelled like mold and wet cardboard. I closed my eyes and tried to disappear, and then a truck, slow. Low engine, familiar, footsteps, river. I didn't move. River, damn it, I opened my eyes. Cole stood there. Soaked from rain, pale, out of breath. "I said I didn't want to see you," I croaked. "You didn't mean it? You followed me?" "No." I looked. "You shouldn't have." He crouched next to me. His hands hovered, then landed on my shoulder. Warm. "You're freezing," he said. "I'm fine. You look like you're dying." "Maybe I am." He didn't laugh. Just pulled off his jacket and wrapped it around me. I hated how much I needed that. "Come on," he said. "You can hate me later." I let him help me up. His truck was around the corner. The heat blasted instantly. I curled into the seat, eyes fluttering shut. Back at the studio, he carried me in like I weighed nothing. Set me down on the cot, left, came back with soup, a blanket, something heavy in his eyes. We didn't speak. I slept hard, but even dreams couldn't wash off the damage. When I woke, he was there, sitting near the curtain, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor like it had answers. "You shouldn't have come," I whispered. He looked up. "I had to. I told you not to, I know, but you came anyway. I couldn't not." I sat up slowly. The blanket fell to my lap. My skin prickled from the cold. "I don't want to be your project," I said. "You're not. I'm not something to fix. I know." I stood, crossed the small space between us, stopped in front of him. "Then what am I?" He looked up, something I didn't expect. We stood there, still, tense, tired. Then he reached out gently and touched my hand. It felt like an apology. I let him. His thumb brushed over my knuckles. We didn't say a word. just breathed in the same air for the first time without armor. Then bang, the back door slammed open. Wind cut through the studio. Cole jumped up. I ducked behind the curtain. Footsteps heavy, police. Someone shouted. My blood turned cold. I peeked. 2 uniforms, one figure behind them taller. Broader, face like a ghost from a nightmare. My father. You've got something that belongs to me, he said. Cole blocked the doorway. He's not a thing. You harboring a runaway, the cop asked, because that's a crime. I'm 20, I said from behind the curtain. I'm not a child. You're still on the missing list, the officer said. I left voluntarily. You come now, and this is over, my father barked. You come home where you belong. I don't belong there. He took a step forward. Touch him, and I swear Cole's voice turned into thunder. Step aside, sir, the cop said, hand drifting to his belt. No warrant, no entry, Cole snapped. The cop hesitated, then stepped in anyway. I came out slowly. You locked me in a room. I said to my father, you tried to break me. You're confused. I'm done. I grabbed my bag. Cole looked at me, eyes asking, what are you doing? I have to finish this, I said. His jaw clenched. Don't disappear again. I nodded. Then I left with the storm behind me and fire in my chest. The house was too quiet. Same cracked steps, same chipped paint, but everything inside me had shifted. My father walked ahead like head won something, but I waste the same boy head slapped in the hallway. I stepped over the threshold and felt my stomach turn. The air smelled like whiskey and dust. You're not leaving again, he said. You'll make sure of it. I stared him down. Well, see, he didn't respond, just turned and locked the door. From the outside that night I lay in my childhood bed, knees pulled to my chest. The posters were gone. The mirror cracked. My phone finally charged. No messages. Not from Cole, not from anyone. I couldn't blame him. Heidi walked away again. Sometime after midnight I heard the floorboards creak, my father pacing, ice clinking in a glass. Every sound felt like a warning. I waited until the silence settled, then slipped out the window. The drop was harder than I expected. I landed on my hands and knees, but I didn't stop. I ran until my lungs burned, 4 blocks, 5. Then I ducked behind a dumpster and pulled out my phone. Only one number mattered. I typed, I shouldn't have left. I don't know where to go. Are you still there? I hit send. A minute passed, then 5, then come home, 2 words, but they cracked something open. I ran, no coat, no destination except that studio. My legs carried me faster than my thoughts. I reached the corner, saw the light glowing behind the glass, and didn't even knock. He opened the door before I touched it. We stared at each other like the world had just stopped spinning. I stepped inside. He closed the door behind me. We didn't speak. I stood there, soaked in sweat and breath, and everything I hadn't said. Then I broke. I lied to you too. He didn't move. I said I could handle it. Said I didn't need anything from anyone, but I was scared of you, of what it meant to need someone. He stepped closer. I never asked you to be strong, he said softly. I just wanted you to be real. I looked up. My chest ached. You really want real? Yes? Then here it is. I wanted you. From the moment you opened that door, and it terrified me. Another step. You looked at me like I was more than a runaway, like I was worth something. He didn't breathe, or maybe I couldn't hear it. I reached out and touched his chest. It rose and fell under my palm, steady, solid. He brought his forehead to mine. We stood like that, no space, no fear. Then he said, I was afraid if I let myself want you, I'd lose you. You already did, I whispered. And I still came back. His lips brushed mine, not a kiss, a permission. I leaned into it. His hands moved to my waist. Mine gripped the fabric of his shirt like it was the only thing keeping me upright. Then a knock, hard. Repeating, Cole froze. Another knock, louder, then a shout. Police, open up. I pulled back. How did they tracked your phone, he said. It was only a matter of time. My body went cold. I moved toward the window. 2 cops, a third figure behind them. My father, again. Panic surged. I backed away. Cole grabbed a bag and shoved it into my arms. My stuff, already packed. You knew. I hoped I was wrong. We stared at each other. His jaw clenched. This isn't the end, I said. I know, but it felt like it. He yanked open the back door. Rain lashed sideways. Go, he said. I hesitated, then ran. The alley swallowed me whole. Behind me, the pounding resumed. Voices, orders, the sound of law closing in, and through it all, I carried the heat of his hands on my skin. The taste of almost, love still on my mouth, the words I didn't get to say, the ones I'd carry for the rest of my life. I took the first bus east. Didn't matter where it went, just that it moved. Just that it didn't stop near him. Each mile stretched the thread between us thinner, but it never snapped. I didn't check my phone, I didn't sleep. I sat with my forehead against the window, watching the world smear past, towns, signs, people I'd never meet. None of them knew what I'd left behind. Somewhere near Montana I got off, walked until I found a cheap room above a laundromat. Paid in cash. The woman at the front desk didn't ask questions. She barely looked at me. That night I stood in the tiny bathroom, staring at my reflection. The bruise on my cheek had faded into yellow. My eyes looked older, like they belonged to someone who used to believe in something. I picked up the toothbrush, then stopped. There it was, a folded piece of paper stuffed in the pocket of my bag. Cole's handwriting on the outside, in case you run again. Inside, a letter, simple, raw, ink slightly smudged. If you need to disappear, I get it, but I won't stop seeing you in every photograph I take. If you're safe, that's enough. If you're not, come home. I folded it back, slower than I should, set it on the nightstand, and like it might vanish if I blinked. Then I burned it, not because I didn't care, because I did. Some things don't get to follow you. The next morning I bought a hoodie from a thrift store. A clean shirt, new socks. I didn't shave, didn't smile, just moved through the day like I was learning how to breathe again. I got a job at a diner washing dishes. The manager barely looked at my ID, just asked if I knew how to scrub pans. I said yes. I didn't matter. Weeks passed. Nights were the worst. I'd lie on the thin mattress, stare at the ceiling fan, and try not to think about his hand on my back. His voice saying my name like it meant something. I didn't delete his number. I didn't write either. Until one night I woke from a dream where he was in the doorway again, shirtless, holding water, saying nothing but meaning everything. I sat up, heart pounding, pulled out my phone, 1 bar of service, no new messages. I opened our thread anyway. His last words still sat there. Come home. I typed something, then deleted it, typed again, then closed the screen. Instead, I grabbed a pen, wrote him a letter, 5 pages, said everything I couldn't the night I ran. Didn't sign it, didn't mail it. I burned that one too, and for a moment I felt clean. The next day, I passed a window downtown and saw a poster taped to the glass. Casting call, new faces, needed Winslow talent, Collective New York in the corner, scrawled in blue ink. You've got... The look, I stared at it. My reflection blurred behind the glass. I didn't go in, but I took a photo. Just in case, that night I stood on the roof of my building and watched the sky. Only 1 star, maybe that was enough. I went to bed with my phone beside me. No calls, no sounds, just one dream. He was standing on the sidewalk. Arms crossed, hood pulled low, same stillness, same silence. He didn't say a word, just looked at me like head weighted the whole time. When I woke, I wasn't sure if it was memory or hope. Either way, I didn't open the phone, didn't check if he was still there, didn't say goodbye, just got dressed, stepped outside, and walked east, toward a city, toward a maybe. And this time I didn't look back.